Blah.
We know that Glenn Danzig is a lot of things, guys. He is a lot of things. He's a musician. He's a singer. He's a songwriter. He plays guitar, bass, drums. He plays the piano. He's a composer. He is a writer. He is a director. He is an actor. He was a record label owner and runner. He's a graphic artist. He's a photographer. And he does illustration. He runs a comic book company. He's an art dealer. For better or for worse, he does it all. It's really kind of weird to think that Glenn Danzig was also a movie critic. That's right. Glenn Danzig, for a period of time in the early 80s, wrote these tiny little movie blurb reviews for Flipside Magazine.
If you don't know what this one is, what the fuck you doing here?
Stephen King's Children of the Corn. This was so unbelievably bad, it couldn't have been. He just, wow, once again, just ragging on Stephen King. This was so unbelievably bad, it could only have been a Stephen King movie. Murderous kids take over a small hick town by killing all the adults. Their leader is a wimpy little intellectual with the voice of a girl. Gore is non-existent, as is most King movies. By the time you read this, there will be yet another one in theaters of Stephen King. How depressing. So this is interesting, though, because Stephen King is really like exploding in the late 70s, early 80s, and everything that he writes is getting turned into a movie, a tradition that has, continued for the last 40 years, really, and yielded many, many classic films, films that are like institutions, you know what I mean? And yet at the time, Glenn just it almost seems like Glenn kind of looks at it in the way that maybe someone might think of Stephen King as like Twilight or something, like, oh, they're making another one of these things and it's so lame and blah, blah, blah. Like he just doesn't see the merit and reverence in Stephen King's work. I wonder what he thought of Cujo, much the way that, Chris was asking what he thought about Suspiria. What? Ricky thinks that my GD impression sounds like Trump. Is that true? I want a poll right now. Right now. That's not true. I do not sound like Donald Trump at all. Here's Donald Trump. Okay, it's really, really great. So what I'm just like an orange idiot. What I'm gonna do, Melania. This is we're just conning all these people. Is what we're doing. We're just conning. Yeah, if you couldn't tell where I lied politically, sorry out there. That's just the way it is. We don't have to talk politics on this show. We already did that episode with the Michael Graves episode. Melania. This is Glenn Danzig, okay? This is like Glenn Danzig from 2004 on, okay? It's not Glenn from the 80s because I can't do Glenn from the 80s. And then, this is Donald Trump. No, sorry. Melania. This is very bigly, okay? Okay, that's what we're going to do. I think that's a pretty big difference there. Which magazines were these reviews in? They were, it was Flipside. No wonder King went with the Ramones, right? Right? You would imagine that King would have hooked up with the Misfits. I wonder what talk about wondering. What does Stephen King think about the Misfits?